Report.
Everything's status quo, sir.
Very well. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my ready room.
Welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week, we're bringing you behind-the-scenes stories of every episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, told to you by people who were behind those scenes. My name is Mitchell Mells, Chief Consultant of Services at Paramount. With me is my life partner, Brandon Hobbs, former Head of Resources Management. Brandon, how are we doing today?
You know, Mitch, before I answer that question, I have to bring up a complaint that we got last week, and that was that our previous episode was too low test.
Too low test?
It was low test.
Now, where did you field that complaint?
That was sent directly to my personal Gmail.
Oh, jeez. What was our latest episode at the time?
It was No, it was last week's. What happened last week?
What happened that was so low test?
No, what happened in Star Trek last week?
Last week was the episode...
You finished DS9?
Yeah, I did finish DS9.
That happened.
Yeah, and that's why I can't remember last week's TNG.
That might be why it was so low test.
Oh, because DS9?
Yeah, because you finished DS9.
Robbed me of my test?
Yeah.
They do refer to Deep Space Nine as a test vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And
they do.
Yeah, they do. So I can't avoid responsibility on this one.
I genuinely don't remember what last week's episode was.
Kind of upsetting how how the Alzheimer's is setting in for both of us.
Okay, no, there was LOL.
No,
then there was... No, I know.
Okay.
I'm working through it. There was LOL, then there was what? What was after LOL?
Wasn't last week's after LOL?
No, I thought LOL was like 3 weeks ago.
That was The Offspring.
Oh, no, you're right, yeah. Yeah, so The Offspring then...
This was
Whatever.
Allegiance? The one where they're trapped in a room.
Yes, that's right, yes.
Yes, good God. I thought about the title, and that's what got me.
I would argue in that case that episode was too low test.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it did focus
no one got killed
on Jean-Luc Picard.
No one had sex, which is remedied in this week's episode for sure.
Yeah, this week's episode fucks.
Yeah, it fucks.
It fucks. It's fucky.
I had a news item to bring up earlier, and I forgot what it was because we spent 2 hours waiting for a coffee.
Yeah. We had some people had some technical difficulties with transporting a cup from one location to another.
So in lieu of that, I will bring up
in Horaloo,
Amber Heard.
Amber Lamps.
That's how black people say ambulance.
Well, do you remember that video from like 15 years ago?
Yeah, vaguely.
Like that old white guy punching some black guy on a bus.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, like call the Amber Lamps.
Call the Amber Lamps.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one video? I may be remembering this wrong. I have like a raised something on my hand that itches really bad.
Is it your knuckle?
No, it's on my palm.
Oh, I see.
It's like a pimple, but not. It's like tiny and it's raised.
Is hair growing there? Because you know what they say.
No. It's really itchy. What the heck? Did something bite me? Whatever.
Is this your idea of riveting podcast content?
There was this video of some guy knocking out another guy on the street, and someone said "Oh, someone get him some milk."
Oh yeah, he needs some milk.
Yeah. Now, did they end up pouring milk on him?
Well, it's good for the bones, which I imagine was the motivation for this. Now, I think they gave it to him, intravenously.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay. Did he, in fact, get some milk?
Oh, wait, no, this is the wrong one. No, this isn't what I was thinking of.
I remember one of them was like, it's like a guy on a bicycle or something falling over.
There's a guy like jumping around the trunk of a car and he just falls over.
Oh God!
But that's not it. That's not it. No, this was like a guy knocking another guy out, and I swear to God, they like pour milk on him or something.
So many people need milk.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Not beleaguer the point here.
I was about to bring up something as well. I completely forgot what I was driving at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I finished.
Is this your idea of riveting podcast content?
Oh, he's so offended. Let me tell you about Deep Space Nine.
Oh, you've already told me.
I'll tell you again. It's pretty good. I think Deep Space Nine, similar to TNG, kind of peters out in its final season, but instead of a finale, it has a concluding story arc that spans about 10 episodes.
What is with this series' penchant for introducing so many characters named Peter?
It's it borders on a fetish. It's so specific, but the final concluding story arc is pretty good. So I'd say the series ends on a high note.
This is the Chuds.
I'm sorry?
The Krill?
The Dominion.
Oh, the Dominion, okay.
Yeah, who are there's many races in the Dominion.
Little yellow fellas.
No, there's no yellow guys. They're Oh God. Oh you. Anyway.
But yeah, okay, the Dominion, yeah.
What I liked about Deep Space Nine is that the Dominion is the primary antagonist, but there's one guy that kind of wavers between antagonist and I don't know, anti-hero at times. And the series sets up and delivers a satisfying mostly satisfying confrontation between him and Cisco at the very end. Which Trek doesn't usually have that.
Yeah, like a personal...
Yeah.
I feel like we made this complaint in TNG a few episodes ago.
Certainly. Because it's very relevant there. There's never that feeling of that the antagonists are actual characters.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Evil guy.
Yeah. Are you eating?
You know I get a scone delivered alongside my coffee.
Jesus Christ.
If you ever watch Deep Space Nine, which is, how do I say this? An unlikely possibility at best. Pay attention to Gul Dukat. Very, very good character.
Oh yeah, no, he gets as they say, shit posted quite a bit. So
does he?
Yeah.
How so?
I mean, lots of quotes from him and stuff.
People post his image alongside something in all caps. What's weird is in the final story arc, for one reason or another, he gets surgery to appear as a Bajoran. They do this a lot in Star Trek. Characters wearing Klingon face or whatever.
Yep.
And in the final confrontation, seemingly for no reason, in the span of an instant, he is reverted back to being a Cardassian. Presumably,
nice.
Just so fans could see the Cardassian Dukat fighting Cisco.
Right. That's funny. because as we know, when you have such dramatic surgery that you're changing the fundamental physical being of yourself, you can't easily change back.
Right. It's particularly with Cardassians. I don't know if you remember their visual design, but they have these
They got like the ridges.
Yeah, these ridges from their shoulders up their neck that have like this webbing there. It's a pretty substantial part of their physiology, it would seem. And that just is gone, and then it comes back. You know? It's like if somebody carved out a piece of your rib cage and then just slapped it back in there.
Maybe they grafted it from his forearm.
Maybe. Anyway, I think I've told you this before too. Sometimes when I'm in the shower and I, pretend to beatbox, I'll say "Gul Dukat" rhythmically, like "Gul Dukat, Gul Dukat, Gul Dukat."
There you go. There you go.
It works.
Have you seen these pictures of Natalie Portman?
No.
She's Thor now, right?
How does that work? I thought Thor was that guy.
Oh yeah, Thor. Don't ask. I don't really care. But
she was in the Thor movies.
Yes, she was Thor's girlfriend, and now she's Thor.
Ah.
But my whole point in bringing it up is people are photoshopping her to make her look like she's like buffer than she is, and then being like, "Wow, Natalie Portman's such a badass."
Okay, sounds sufficiently ridiculous.
It is. I mean, describing it doesn't really do it justice, but you know what I mean. It's like those social media like shill campaigns, right?
Yeah. Now, doesn't female Thor say to Thor at some point, "Calm thine tits"?
Yeah, in the comics.
Right. Do you think they'll take that scene?
Who replied to Zelda Williams with that? That was Dobson,
Dobson,
right?
Yeah. I believe this was in response to her reaction to her father's death.
Yes, it was.
Which is amazing.
I don't even know.
Well, it's amazing to me how people still have not had their appetites whetted for Marvel. They still want more.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easy to think that if they could, and they definitely would, make these in perpetuity, but there will be a time where the market no longer wants it.
I saw a video the other day. You may have seen this on Twitter, of a guy who he was on video, and he was saying, I want to see a story about the little guy in the Marvel universe. I want to see a story about like a Christian questioning his religion now that like Thor exists or whatever.
Okay.
And he's like, Disney could hire like a visionary indie movie producer and give him the budget to make a movie and set it in the Marvel universe. And it's just the most dystopian thing I've ever heard in my life.
How so?
Because basically he's arguing, let's have Disney fund these art house movies, but they have to be set in the MCU. So,
I do think that a compelling movie could be made with that.
It could be, but it shouldn't be.
No.
The MCU has already cannibalized this market.
Right.
So basically what he's asking for is for Disney to make every single movie
in the MCU.
In the world.
Yeah. I mean...
in the world.
Right.
Like, that's it.
And you could, like, if you take that premise specifically, right? It's so agnostic of the actual specifics of the Marvel universe that it's probably just better done with, a original random superhero that might play to the concept better.
I saw someone say something like that, and then they were like, yeah, but then you have to establish a world where these superheroes exist. It's so much better if... And it's like, that's what movies used to do. You used to go to a movie and it establishes itself. You don't need fucking 20 movies of convincing that these characters exist in their own universe.
Okay, imagine this. A new movie's coming out. and everybody wants to see it, right? It's like exciting and whatever. It gets the public appeal. And some guy's like, wow, I really want to see this. What do I have to watch first?
Well, 100% that happens. That's like consumers are used to that now, and it's not to be like the anti-fun guy or whatever, but it's don't do it.
I didn't say anything.
You were going to.
I was taking a drink of coffee.
Yeah. Oh, why are you anti-mushroom?
I'm gonna be honest, that didn't even cross my mind, but
It would have.
You're seeing ghouls where there are none.
You are a ghoul.
Anyway, you were saying?
But I don't know. My entire point is just that it's just really stupid. It's just a really stupid idea. It's really funny to me.
It is. I don't necessarily even see the appeal of a cinematic universe conceptually. Why?
I think it's cool.
I don't think the movies, and I say this having seen none of them, I don't think the movies are all that enriched by taking place in the same universe as something else. If anything, to me, it sounds like it could rob some of the stories, because you would always need, anytime there's a conflict, you would have to answer the question of why can't Thor come and do this? Why isn't?
Well, yeah, and that's I think
Avengers?
that's mainly a problem with the framework that children's superheroes operate within. You can have a shared universe made by a much more creative person that you don't even need to ask those questions of, because it's not even a thing that comes up. There's plenty of shared universes in other media, like books, where this question never really arises again because it doesn't need to be asked.
Sure.
It's just a matter of like how the way Marvel operates is that your setting is New York City, and every independent movie you're just dropping another hero into New York City, and then the crossover movies are just all the heroes fighting in New York City. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
it's just bereft of any kind of creativity from the get-go. That's the problem.
Certainly Marvel is not a creative force in many ways, but to me a good story is going to be self-contained. And
sure, yeah.
And let's say that you string a bunch of self-contained stories together into whatever universe you want to make, and it's sensical, and you don't, there's no nagging questions that come up. Aside from just feeling like, oh, I see, it's the same universe, that's kind of neat. Like, what other value is there?
Yeah, that's exactly what the value is, though. I mean, if you do it right, obviously the narrative of the immediate product, the immediate story comes first, and crossovers in general are pretty stupid. Right. Those are complete fan service, right. No matter what you do.
Imagine this. Imagine tomorrow.
Wait. Yeah. Okay.
David Lynch tweets out that Eraserhead, The Elephant Man, and Twin Peaks all take place in the same universe.
Sure.
And those are all three self-contained, siloed stories, and they're all in the same universe. And I don't think it. I mean, these weren't written that way. Maybe this is a bad example.
You're applying it. Yes, it is a terrible example. You're applying it retroactively. The thing is, like, if the thing is, create
a terrible
good narratives,
example.
if you want to set it in a shared universe, create good narratives. Set it on the backdrop of this shared universe. And yeah, it is nice to be able to see, like, okay, this connects to this somehow, but I mean, obviously don't make it in your face fan service type stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Don't it's smash action figures together.
That's basically it. Shared universes can be very cool if it's something that you sit there and you kind of have to discover for yourself. It's not the main point of a work, but it's set on the backdrop of a universe that you maybe know or familiar with. I mean, again, books I think do this very well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is additive in nature rather than detracting anything. It only really detracts once you let that self-contained aspect of it get away. But
right, it detracts when the shared universe is the point.
Right.
Right. So
and
that's what Marvel is.
Yeah,
So.
Marvel is. Oh, I have to watch the Netflix series so I can understand the latest movie that came out, which has the fate of this one character will be answered in.
Well, it's insane.
Else.
You have to watch like WandaVision, Loki, the new Spider-Man to be able to understand the new fucking Sam Raimi movie. Sam Raimi. Like,
what
really?
is the new Sam Raimi? Is that a Marvel?
That's Doctor Strange, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And all of those prerequisites likely have prerequisites of their own. It's so
they have prerequisites. Yeah, so for Spider-Man, you have to watch every single Sony Spider-Man movie. You have to watch every Disney Spider-Man movie. I mean, shit, for the new Sam Raimi movie, it probably expects you to watch all the old X-Men movies, too.
I can't even begin to imagine how that could be, but sure, why not? I mean, it's unassailable.
Because Patrick Stewart's in it. Patrick Stewart's in the new Sam Raimi movies, Professor X again.
Why?
Yeah, right?
I mean,
he's there to shut up another franchise. It was geriatric acting.
At least, the need for a wheelchair will be realistic this time.
We won't have to watch him pretend to do action scenes.
Good lord. It's, I mean, obviously for a company, it's great. It's like, oh, I by releasing one movie, I am soft selling tickets to 5 other movies that came out before it. Like, that's great. But yeah, it's entirely artless.
There was a point where these films where you could watch these films and be like, okay, they're popcorn flicks, but they're different enough,
right,
to be like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? But at some point in the past 5, 6, 7 years, I feel like that every single one of them has just become the same exact thing. Unless you get into cosmic stuff like James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, that was okay. And I think there was one other one that was all right, but
I'll say
overall,
this,
it's just the same garbage.
I like the idea of what it started as all these superhero movies linking together to make the Avengers movie.
Yeah.
That's fine, because if you want to make the Avengers movie anything but an origin story, you have a lot of introductions to do, and it's economic to take care of that in another movie. But beyond that, where it's just, Doctor Strange's Chinese assistant hung out with Spider-Man for a bit, or whatever. It's like, who gives a shit?
So I have a couple of points there. First point is, yes, you're right. It does reach into the cesspools of fandom where your entire personality is knowing stupid shit like that. And these products are created just so you can say, hey, did you know Doctor Strange's Chinese assistant
with Spider-Man
grabbed Spider-Man's bulge in minute 57 of the 50th Defenders movie or whatever. But you're right in that, like, it did start off. The thing is, it's still really cool. Like, it's an amazing feat of not filmmaking per se, not even writing per se, but I guess just
vision,
production.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The idea of, like, never before on such a budget has a shared universe existed, and
the scale is very large.
The scale it's very interesting to me, and it still is interesting that they were able to do this. Even when you have a scale of something like Godzilla, which is also a shared universe, it's never consistent. But that's also its strength, because it's like the thing about the MCU is that it's interesting because it kind of mirrors the comics, where
I would say that
all
is
these
a positive
things
trait of it.
Interact with each other, but where it doesn't mirror the comics, and maybe it mirrors contemporary comics, but not the stuff that the films are actually drawing from. Where it doesn't mirror the comics is that Disney has an iron fist, and they'll hire almost auteurs sometimes. I mean, Sam Raimi, James Gunn, and the studio will basically make the movie for the director, and the director's just a name attached to it. Whereas in the comics, you have people like Grant Morrison whose style you can immediately tell, So it's like if they let these directors actually do something, maybe you would have something worth watching. But as it is now, obviously it's just a sanitized product. And I mean, we're not really saying anything new here, but I guess we've never talked about the MCU before.
No, for good reason. But I want to know if there's a toppling point within the fandom, where not that they get tired of it, but it becomes impossible for them to keep their knowledge straight. Right. Like where they can't place where certain events happened in what show or movie, because it all begins running together.
We're getting there, because we're going into like multiverse stuff, like the comics did, like very quickly, like DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths type stuff, which happened decades ago. At this point, it's like now you have 5 million characters named the Flash, and
they're all fast.
But that could be a good thing, because again, it's like these movies would be so much better if directors could just do what they wanted, and it's so much easier for them to do what they want if Disney could say, okay, that was canon in like universe 572 or whatever.
Yeah, the less beholden they are to the machine, the better.
Which is why DC should be doing better than it is, because they actually seem to let the directors do things.
I don't know what it is, but do you think the character roster of DC is less interesting? They're
less colorful for sure.
With no horse in this race, having seen 0 Marvel or DC films, at least since the whole superhero craze began, I can say that the DC productions look less interesting to me. Across the board.
No, they're boring. Snyder's stuff is comical. Snyder's stuff is so bad it's good. Except honestly, I really enjoyed his Justice League, his 4.5-hour Justice League. I thought that was actually probably the best superhero thing he's ever done. Which is a low bar.
Now, how does that?
It's actually good.
How does that stack up to Age of Ultron?
I never watched Age of Ultron, so.
Me neither, but I knew that was an Avengers movie.
That was an Avengers. That was a Joss Whedon joint.
Age of Ultron. Oh, you mean the Sex Pest? And
yeah, the Sex Pest.
What was the other one? Endgame?
Yes, yeah, Endgame. Yeah.
Now that's different from Civil War, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I remember this correctly, Civil War was a Captain America joint.
That's Captain America, yeah.
I have no idea.
We need to keep saying the word joint.
I have no idea how they draw this distinction, because it seemed like everybody was in that movie, but no, it's a Captain America
that was
movie.
where the lines started being blurred, and any could just be in any movie.
Right.
I will say, Iron Man 2, Scarlett Johansson was probably her peak.
ScarJo.
Now,
here's a question: do you think that Edward Norton wakes up in tears every so often, thinking about how he was once the Incredible Hulk, and how he's missing out on this Marvel money?
I don't know. I don't know if he wakes up in tears per se, but that was a really stupid move on his part.
Yeah,
but he has artistic integrity, I guess.
Which does seem to. I mean, I don't know how you how you star in American History X without any artistic integrity.
I mean, because that was the issue, right? That was basically the issue, is that he wanted some kind of creative control over it.
Yeah. God forbid.
Which I understand.
Instead, doesn't Hulk just like stay green all the time now?
That was temporary. That was like an adaptation of the Professor Hulk stuff, where they kind of the personalities merge, and he's
green all the time.
Big green man, yeah. But I think that ended.
Okay, and they went back to Bruce Banner, played by.
But that is the thing. That is the thing about Marvel, is that we were talking about like, oh, is the roster better in DC or Marvel or whatever? But it's like, Marvel is just a bunch of guys with colorful superpowers, honestly. I think DC has that, but it also has a little more nuance to it when a good writer has their hands on it.
Mm.
I don't think Marvel has that nuance, except with Spider-Man. Like they have Spider-Man and that's it. The rest are, you have your gods, which, to be fair, DC has gods made by pretty much the same exact writer. But there's more of the sort of everyman feel to their characters.
Which one has Galactus? You know Galactus?
That's DC, I believe.
I have a Galactus story. You want to hear it?
Yeah, sure.
I heard this story.
No, that's Marvel. I'm sorry. That's Marvel.
Shit.
Son of a bitch.
So there's a Galactus story. At some point, they were making what I guess it was a Marvel trading card game.
Mm.
And Galactus was featured on one of the cards. And the idea was that Galactus would... Because he's like a big guy, right? He eats planets.
Yeah, I mean, for you.
Yeah. And he would, like, the card would show him arriving on Earth, and he's so big he blocks out the sun. So there's, like, shadows, everywhere. And they were making this game, and they send an art description to the artist. This is what I want you to draw. Galactus arrives on Earth, he's so big he blocks out the sun. And the art they got back was Galactus, like, holding his hand up in front of the sun, like, squinting. Galactus blocks out the sun.
That's amazing. Are there images of this?
I don't know. I only heard the story. I don't think
That's so funny.
Because they like got him to redraw it.
Yeah,
so.
Obviously they wouldn't have released it. That's so funny. I want to see that so bad. Yeah, I thought he was like big enough to eat planets or something.
Yeah, that's his thing. Now I don't really know the daily life of Galactus, if he just floats through space eating planets. Like Bender in that Futurama episode. Yeah, just large enough to eat planets. And
yeah.
If he does it in like one bite, or if he takes his time with the planet,
he enjoys it. He gets his little fork and knife out.
Now I also don't know if it's more metaphorical, if he depletes it of its natural resources and he's quote unquote eating it, or if he just like opens up his mouth really wide and it just drifts in there.
He unhinges it like a snake.
Yeah. Snakes unhinging their jaws has no end of comedic value.
I mean, it's a funny visual, just inherently.
Yeah, and especially applied to other things, such as Galactus, Eater of Worlds.
Right.
Blocks out the sun.
Like a white woman.
Right. Oh, boy. So, this week's question of the week comes from Jim Davis in Arlen, who says, Admirals, what is your favorite newspaper comic? Thank you for making the show we all know and love, Jim Davis. Now, despite the connection of the name and his question, I don't think that this is the Jim Davis that wrote Garfield, because he's dead.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah. But oddly fortuitous that there's another man named Jim Davis who is a big fan of newspaper comics.
So, why don't we start by discussing what the worst one is first?
Family Circus?
Yeah, that's low hanging though.
Okay.
Give me your most controversial. Like, what is a Sunday comic you hate that everyone else likes?
Peanuts.
That's fair. I'm gonna say Calvin and Hobbes.
That's a good one. Now, I would say that I wouldn't dislike Calvin and Hobbes as much if its fan base didn't exist.
It is a fan base thing.
Yeah.
Well, no. This is such a stupid statement, but if its fan base didn't exist, it wouldn't be as overblown as it is.
Yeah, but I know what you mean.
Right?
It's your average person isn't,
they're
talking
not
your ear off
gobbling up
about Calvin and Hobbes.
They're not gobbling Hobbes,
But
no, it's this select percentage of the population
suits.
that it is suits, and it's people who don't even read these comics. They don't read Sunday comics. It's just like they saw Calvin and Hobbes once and decided to buy every single Calvin and Hobbes book, and that's their personality.
There's two types of Calvin and Hobbes fans. There's the sued with like Calvin and Hobbes sledding tattooed on his back, and then there's the guy with the pissing Calvin sticker on his truck.
Yeah, no, and with the "Don't Tread on Me" flag kind of waving in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about good comics.
Heathcliff.
Heathcliff is great. Terrifying. Probably the most esoteric comic on the face of the earth. Outside of that single Cow Tools strip.
I was about to bring up Cow Tools. The Far Side, I like as well.
The Far Side's really good. Crazy Cat is awesome.
I don't know Crazy Cat. I have to.
Yeah, you should look that one up. Yeah.
Now I can't just type in Crazy Cat into Google because that will not.
It's 2 Ks. Crazy Cat.
Oh, maybe that's why he spelled it with a K.
Yeah, because he knew Google would exist and people would become obsessed with cats.
Or maybe he just really liked Mortal Kombat.
Maybe.
All right, here's one. I'm going to describe this Crazy Cat strip to you. There's a cat, presumably the titular Crazy Cat, who is juggling while balancing a bunch of balls on his head and an upside-down chair on his tail. He's very involved in these activities. And watching him are a mouse and a cop. And the mouse says, "Go away, cop, go away. Let me think," as he looks frazzled.
I know exactly which one this is.
How? All right, hold on. Here's another one. I'll describe the entirety of it to you once again. There's a cat, presumably the titular Crazy Cat, is just standing there with he's looking dazed, like he can't focus. There's a heart drifting out of him. Maybe he saw something that he loves. Meanwhile, the mouse from before is throwing a brick at his head, and it hits. And then the cop is standing to the side of all this, and he says, "Transgression."
Yep.
All right, one more,
isn't it?
One more. So there's the cat. He's sitting, and a brick comes out of nowhere and hits him. I can't see who threw it this time, but it's probably the mouse. And around this scene, it says half a pow as a sound effect, half a zip in the speed trail from the brick, and the cop who's there watching this says half a brick.
Nice. That is fucking.
This is kind of awesome.
It's different. It's good. How about a rapid fire round? Yay or nay?
Okay, I'm in.
Dennis the Menace.
Nay.
Blondie.
Yay.
The Boondocks.
Yay.
Mother Goose and Grimm.
Nay.
Hagar the Horrible.
Tepid nay.
Wow, really?
It's like a 45%er. It's almost at the positive half where you would round up.
Marmaduke.
Oh, that's a nay. That's a big old nay.
Yeah. There's a million I'm forgetting right now, but Dilbert though.
Oh, that's a yay.
That's the perfect comic. How about Garfield?
That's a nay.
That's a nay.
And you know what? It's a nay, and it's a double nay for the post-ironic Garfield appreciation that has sprung up.
Well, I know you
years.
and your like that iCarly Zoomer that you watch.
Yeah, that fat guy, big fat guy.
Yeah, with his Garfield obsession. Oh, my personality is liking Garfield.
Yeah,
but not really.
It's like a 15-year-old girl very transparently adopting something quirky as their personality.
Yeah. How about that pink cat that's just Garfield but with like big dick sucking lips?
Oh, Arlene.
You know what I mean? Is that what her name is?
Yeah. Pulled
Yeah.
that name from the annals of my mind.
The Anals. I feel like Garfield started off okay, though. You know what I mean?
Nah,
I feel like it was all right.
I mean, yeah, it was serviceable for for a newspaper comic, which is what it was, so that's fine. But
yeah. Did you ever read the Winnie the Pooh comic?
I think I did.
Funny as hell.
Oh, bother.
That might be one of my favorite. I mean, I love Pooh no matter what.
Did it ever occur to you that
I shouldn't have said that.
That Winnie the Pooh kind of is reminiscent of Mule?
Kind of, I guess. Only in the way they speak.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, one isn't as good-natured as the other, nor pitiable.
But on the other hand, Winnie the Pooh wouldn't buy me hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise.
This is true. You ever see that Winnie the Pooh movie with
Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor?
No, I've been meaning to.
I watched it once on a date
with a girl, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was very awkward. Let me tell you this quick story. I was on a date at my apartment, which is, now that I think back on it, kind of awkward phrasing, but I didn't know this person that well, and they're like, let's watch a movie. And so I'm like, all right, I don't really want to watch this, but sure, whatever. And they take the opportunity to snuggle up, and immediately I knew that I was just not into this person. And
okay.
But I was stuck there for, 90 minutes, 100 minutes.
What year did this come out?
God knows. It wasn't recent. I'm sorry.
Wow.
It wasn't recent to when that date happened. But anyway.
So you were stuck there about the same amount of time you'd be if you were watching 90 minutes.
Yes, exactly. Or 1.5 episodes of 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a miserable time. And whenever I think of that movie, I just think of, how do I phrase this? Have you ever been forcefully hugged or touched by somebody you want no part of, and your body tenses up?
You're asking if I've been sexually harassed?
Yeah.
Yes. yes, I have.
And your body tenses up out of instinct.
Yeah, for sure.
Imagine a full body hold of that for 90 minutes, and just
like legs wrapped around you.
Yeah, kind of like a French press.
Yeah. Oh, oof. The person I'm imagining right now. Definitely don't want that.
So that's what I think of when I think of Winnie the Pooh. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'll get over it one day. But yeah.
This one time I went to see Puss in Boots with a Chinese girl who didn't speak English, so I'm not sure why she wanted to go.
How was she on pronouncing the title?
I think she just said she wanted to see the Cat movie.
Now, how do you wind up on a date with a Chinese individual that can't speak English?
Honestly, and this is going to sound like a cop-out, but I don't remember.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's hilarious to me, because I'm picturing the post-movie conversation. How'd you like it? And just instantly a complete communications breakdown combined.
No, I mean it was a stupid idea. It was a stupid idea on my part to even entertain the thought of going to a film with someone who barely speaks English. But
compounded by it being a movie with Antonio Banderas as a speaking cat. I saw Shrek 3 or 4 on a date.
Mm-hmm.
That was also a terrible experience.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you learn that a woman who wants to watch a Shrek film or a Shrek adjacent film is just not worth your time. And you could even extend that to something like Turning Red or Sing 2.
Sing 2
just
the
complete
streets.
complete degenerates, baby women, is what I call them.
Yeah, well, if you're like Jim and you want us to answer your question of the week live on our show, send us an email at thereadierroom@gmail.com, so the capital T and 2 capital R's, or you can tweet at us at the Readier Room and we'll answer your question. Now, 45 minutes into this podcast, it's time to talk about Star Trek: The Next Generation. We could talk more about Deep Space Nine instead if you want.
No, that's okay.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
So this week we watched what was the title of this? Captain's Holiday.
Captain's Holiday.
And it didn't occur to me until, I don't know, several hours after watching this, I was in the bathroom and I was kind of getting my thoughts in line, and I realized I have no idea how I felt about this episode, like if I liked it or not.
It's funny you say that because I kind of feel the same way.
Right. And I the conclusion I reached was, well, if it didn't give me an explicitly negative feeling, then I probably liked it somewhat.
Yeah. If we didn't have a podcast about this, then I would have watched this and been like, it's okay, and not really thought anything more about it.
Right.
But I guess we need to kind of hash it out and figure out what was wrong with it.
Most of the Enterprise crew didn't figure into the story is probably...
Does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me, but I think it creates the opportunity for it to be a little bland, right? Because when you don't use most of the characters that we like, the ones introduced for this story have to pull a lot more weight. And
yeah, sure.
They didn't really. I guess there's really only one character that figures into the plot in a real way.
Well, there's two. I mean, you got Jennifer, who's as Vash, and you have Max as Sovak, and they're both acting very hard.
Oh, but not as hard as the I don't know, the waitress. I don't really know what to call her. One of the Risa girls that tells Picard about
the one that sits down.
Yeah,
that was Joval, I think. Joval, I don't know.
The absolute worst performance ever, ever. It's terrible.
It didn't offend me that much.
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm offended, but it's very apparent. Oh, we hired, and we did, but we hired just models to look attractive on Risa, and one of them had to talk, and yeah, it's she talks. She takes the affect of a like of a robotic sex doll, rather than a living thing that's speaking. Also,
well, I mean, it's true. It's true to Gene's vision, at least.
Well, yes, that's true. But do you like the fact that people native to Risa look exactly like humans?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's amazing. I mean, as a pleasure planet, of course they would.
Right.
No, wait. Is it pronounced Risa, like the alchemist, or is it Risa?
Oh, I think you're right. I believe it is Risa, but
yeah,
I've had my brain poisoned. I just say Risa.
Yeah.
Which they're very deliberate on pronouncing it Risa, which to me is
right?
unnatural.
It is Risa. Well, it's foreign, so
it's from another planet. Even
it is.
It is. So yeah, it's
alien.
It is alien. Such a fucking nothing inoffensive. It's a vanilla episode, right? It's just no one's gonna be like, this vanilla is so, it tastes so bad.
Right.
But
right. It's another episode in the very strange string of episodes that seem to be made to placate Patrick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
where it's like, we gotta give Picard some punching or fucking to do.
Patrick sees Indiana Jones one time.
Yeah.
And Captain's Holiday is born.
Right. And Yeah, I mean that's what it is. The entire episode is leading up to, is Picard going to fuck? And he does. And then
Picard fucks.
but that's it. That's it. Like the archaeological Indiana Jones type plot is not at all interesting.
No.
Not the least of its problems is the Deus Ex Machina aliens.
Yeah, which I thought would have been more how do I describe this? I thought they would have been more duplicitous with how the story sets it up.
That's the interesting thing, though, is that the one interesting thing about their presence is that we still don't know. They could be,
right,
but we don't know if they're telling the truth or if they're not. There's something about their presence in the episode, or lack thereof, that made it feel like they could have done something more with it. Not necessarily that we need to know. Are they telling the truth or are they not? Are they malicious? Are they not? Because I like that ambiguity, but there's something missing there.
You know what I hated about them? I hated how they called...
Their stupid makeup.
Well, but I hated how they called attention to the nature of time travel. Picard talking to Vash, I think she says, "Oh, I wish we had more time together." And Picard says, well, the time-traveling aliens might go back to the start of this,
yes,
and we'll have these events play out again. Not like that would be them. It's not implying that, but the idea that once you acknowledge that a time traveler can just run the loop again to try again at whatever their goal is, it becomes literally impossible for them to fail, right? Because they can just go back to the start, do everything the same, and then at the very end, stop Picard from executing his plan. Which,
and it's funny because that was going to be even more explicit in initially, because this episode was going to end on exactly that, like it would have looped back around, which is just completely ridiculous.
A fucking terrible. That would be a terrible decision. And that's a logical conclusion to reach. That even if they didn't say anything, somebody might think, "Oh, well, they're time travelers; they could go try it again." It's not that that's possible. That irks me. It's that once you call attention to it, it makes all of the events of the episode seem trivial, and it also raises more questions, because you can assume that, okay, the way time travel works in this universe, maybe they can't do that for whatever reason, but no, they can. So literally every time travel story in Trek from here on out is just a lame duck because of the implications of this episode.
Every reasonable person, when they think about time travel, has landed on the idea that just kind of come to this conclusion that time travel, the way it works, is that when you travel back in the past and create a divergence, that's an alternate universe, right? So the idea that it presents here is that it's linear,
right?
Until something changes, and then it stays linear, but everything changes, which doesn't make any sense either. So I don't know.
Pretty poorly thought out for Star Trek.
And they could have just gotten rid of that line.
Yeah. What did that add to the episode?
It added nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Whew. And I'm not going to say, I hate this episode now, because that's not true. But that did annoy me.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
Just to run down some quick logistical stuff. This was Ira's first real episode that he wrote. He did more DS9 work than he did TNG. He did barely any TNG, but this was the first one that he did by himself. This was directed first directed episode by Chip Chalmers, which
sounds like
as
a fake
his name suggests is a cartoon character. But what did you think of the direction?
Oh, there's just one shot. It's a series of shots, actually. It's a 2-shot conversation close to the beginning between Riker and Troy, where
Mhm.
both of them are. It's way too close up, and Troy, the close-up shot of her is out of focus, and she's not she's not framed in the right center of the shot, nor is she in any framed in an aesthetically pleasing way, and she's out of focus, and it's too tight on her face, and it's just, it looks awful. It's so bad. Not just
It's experimental.
oh jeez, not to say the whole episode is that bad, but I didn't notice anything about the direction that made me take notice positively, only negatively. So I would not say that Chip did a good job.
Not a Chip Chalmers fan.
No. Making this episode look good was Chip's challenge, and he failed.
It's worth noting before we jump into the plot that the idea for this episode had been being kicked around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily its final form. That was kind of an amalgamation, as many episodes are, of one or two different, or two or three different scripts rather. But you remember the writers' room had this concept up on the whiteboard for probably years at this point, where they just written a single sentence up there that said Patrick's package with a bunch of question marks.
I can remember they never erased it. It was always there in consideration.
Yeah, well, you know what? Someone drew over it in permanent marker. So they couldn't erase it.
Yeah, it was.
And we couldn't buy another whiteboard.
No.
Because it was our lucky whiteboard. So
well, whiteboards were new technology at the time.
They were, yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Would have been a few thousand. Just get a new one.
The pearly whites.
That kind of inspired the idea for Picard on a beach-like planet. Just getting shots of the stuff.
Right. From the Rysonians. I don't know if that's whatever. But
the Rysons?
Maybe.
The Rysons of the sun?
This is the first introduction of Risa, which is
which shows up in DS9, of course.
I don't know if they actually go to Risa, but they mention it a lot.
I think they do.
Oh no, they do. I believe you are right.
Yeah.
Worf and Dax go there alongside Bashir, and there's a terrorist organization that's controlling the weather. Maybe that's the plot. I don't know, but anyway, just because it happened in TNG, that means that's the only pleasure planet in the galaxy, according to DS9. That's where everyone always goes, Risa.
Right.
Which
is odd because, again, as you noted, everyone's just human.
Yes. Now, this episode, I want to talk about the start of this episode, where it's Risa, the fish aliens beam in, and they say, we're looking for Picard, and the computer says, Picard's not here. And they say, oh, and then they leave. And now, to some, this scene seems pointless. And to the casual viewer, it is. I remember we introduced this scene because test audiences, when watching the episode, they would turn it off thinking that there was no plot. Picard's just going on vacation. And we needed this to establish that there was some intrigue going to happen later in the episode.
Right. Yeah, that was... it's almost unfortunate, but you do kind of have to tailor things to your audience, right? So
yes,
that was our kind of makeshift solution for this episode.
And boy, is it a useless scene otherwise.
But I think moving on from that, I kind of like the little opening on the Enterprise where Picard's all sleepy and
Did you notice anything from that opening Enterprise scene?
What was I supposed to have noticed?
Anything in the dialogue?
Among Us?
No. So, the dialogue on the bridge in that scene is the dialogue in the second opening song of the Readier Room.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wait, which line is that?
Riker says something like everything's good, whatever, his status report. And Picard says, "Okay, if you need me, I'll be in my ready room."
I knew it. Okay, yes. Because yes, I was watching that and I was like, "Wait a minute, that sounds very familiar." Oh god, but I'm so used to the first one where he says in my ready room. So I was like, am I getting it mixed up?
Well, we reached that episode a couple months ago, maybe.
Yeah, we did.
And now we reached this
one.
No,
that wasn't that season 1. That was Conspiracy.
Was it?
I think so.
No, I think
I
think it was much
when he
later.
has the Admiral's message sent to him. Okay, no, it was earlier then, because Conspiracy is the one where he like kills the guys, right?
Conspiracy is the one with with like the aliens that eat worms.
Yeah, so oh no, so maybe it was that one. That was the one, because he was receiving messages, like private messages or whatever, and the computer says like, security code something, Captain Picard. He's like in my ready room.
I think this was also season 3. That recording. Conspiracy was season 1, but I think you're thinking of a different episode. No? I was the one who got the clip.
I swear to God. I swear to God. You but bullshit, you remember where you got that clip from.
Oh, well, I remember we had the conversation of, this was the recording used in the opening. We had that conversation way too recently for it to be season 1.
No, we didn't. Your sense of time is just
it's
dilated.
Oh boy.
It was something that bothered me in the first maybe 5-10 minutes of this episode is when Crusher goes into Picard's room and does this like passive aggressive thing.
I didn't read that as passive aggressive.
I guess maybe not aggressive per se, but
it was very passive, but it
was very Reddit, if you will.
I mean, I buy that, but to me, it implies some history of those two where they've had similar conversations, and Crusher knows that just coming out with it isn't really going to yield any results. And
I think it's a very autistic way of speaking.
Sure.
By the way, no fish.
No fish. Well, that's the only scene in that room, so.
Yeah. We didn't have a good enough reason to put the fish in there.
Right, we couldn't have the fish living on set.
But yeah, so I guess the whole conceit of this episode is that Picard is tired and everyone wants him to go on vacation.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I thought that was kind of cute. Everyone banding together.
Yeah. It was all right. And Riker, being Riker, tells him about the planet Risa and how close they are to it. And I enjoyed the scene in the elevator where Picard preemptively guessed that Riker was into the women on the planet. It's very very cute.
Yeah, there's multiple times in this episode where Picard is just having none of Riker's shit. And it gets to the point where you could feel a real animosity there. A very one-sided animosity from Picard to Riker. Like it wasn't, Riker, that scamp. It's, I'm gonna fucking kill Will.
Yeah, and the one thing that stops, or that encourages Picard to go to the planet Risa is that the space station that they will be docking at, apparently Troy's mother, this may or may not be a lie, is going to be there.
No, I don't think that's true. I think, well, I believe it's Troy's lying pretty obviously, but Picard knows that. The reason he decides to go is because everybody's just going to keep hounding him about it. He's like, "Oh, Troy's lying to me to get me to go. Will already talked to me. Crusher, it's like they have that conversation. Is everybody in on this scheme? And that's what puts
You're
them over
reading
the edge.
into it.
You're
reading into it.
Well, obviously, but I think it's pretty obvious to reach this conclusion.
Nah, you're reading into it.
I think you're being kind of autistic here, of just not picking up on obvious social cues.
No, you're reading into it.
Uh-huh. Did you really think that there were there were two ensign that didn't know about this Picard vacation scheme?
No, you are
well?
reading into it. Like this is just a silly scene. You're just reading into it.
What do you? Yeah, it's a silly scene, but it's not. This isn't that intensive. It's not deep, but it is obvious.
No, but it was never meant to be. That's the thing. You're making it deeper than it was even meant to be.
This is like a shade deeper. It's not a stretch.
No, but it's still too deep.
You're insane. You're insane.
You really think that Star Trek is really?
Is what? Okay, so Troy tells this lie, and Picard's immediate reaction is, "Oh, everybody's trying to get me to go on vacation." If he doesn't think it's a lie, what is the connection of these two events?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so.
Yeah. What do you... Fucking hell.
Jesus Christ. Oh, you're so fucking autistic, dude.
You're autistic.
Dude, calm down, dude. Holy shit.
Dude, I'm just a bigger Trek fan than you.
Oh my god. Maybe you should post on Memory Alpha. No, I'm sorry, Memory Beta.
How is that an insult?
Maybe you can make an article on Memory Beta about Picard's thought process when he's sitting on the bridge as Troy's telling him about this.
I'll post on Memory Alpha. You're more of a Memory Beta guy.
I'm a Memory Omega.
Memory Sigma?
Memory Sigma, sorry.
Oh, jeez. So, Picard, Riker, Troy, these are the characters. Picard yields, and then he puts on the worst shirt of all time.
That wasn't that bad.
This half scalloped number.
Now, what was he thinking in that scene? Was he thinking, I'm going to wear this shirt, this ugly shirt, to try to trick everyone?
Into what?
You tell me. You're the expert here.
I'm the Trek psychologist. I'll tell you what, I have more insight into these characters than Troy ever did. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. The shirt was I don't know. It felt in universe enough, I guess.
Here's the thing. Well, it certainly did. It didn't feel incongruent, but Trek does this so often where they how to describe this? They introduce things in sets where, I'm talking about the books Picard has. They have to have one real life book and one fake book. They can never just have fake books.
Wait, were there 3 of them or 2?
I believe it was Ulysses and something like the alternate universe and you or whatever.
And and then there was the fake one, Huckleberry Finn.
Right.
But
to me, it's always so rote, you know. It's like, oh, Data's talking about painting styles, and he's like, oh, this painting has it takes inspiration from Van Gogh, and also has shades of Gleebleglore from Planet.
that is the thing too. It's like, yes, and I'm wondering if the writers did this just because it's like, you know, any normie could catch an episode of Trek on TV never having watched it, and so when you're dealing with scenes like this, you have to introduce the concept of like what these characters are even talking about, and you have to relate it back to, you know, what does the audience know? Because
nobody's gonna know what a book is unless you name drop Ulysses.
Picard's talking about like it's ironic because Picard is talking about light reading or whatever, and it's heavier text than one would normally think. So of course they have to say, here's a book. But I guess when it comes down to that, yeah, if you're not going to catch that, in a fictional context, you haven't read these real books anyway,
right?
Because you're an idiot.
And the visual, the visuals, they're pretty thick books. It gets the point across.
Yeah, they're old. They're like leather bound.
Right. And you can just say something like, quantum mechanics of the starship engines, of the warp engine,
right?
And that's a fake thing, but the point is conveyed that it's
conveyed.
That
yeah.
It's dense.
No, I 100% agree with you, and this has always bothered me, but.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's inescapable. It's the problem.
That's how I like to think about Trek in general.
Was Voyager the series with the guy in the car?
You'll have to be more specific.
There's a guy who's always working on his car.
I haven't seen that, so it's probably Voyager.
It's got to be Voyager, right?
Yeah, that wasn't DS9. I'll tell you that. Tell me there's just a fucking car aboard the Voyager ship, and
yeah, no, that's what it is. He's always working on his antique car.
Does he have like overalls and like a pinup?
I don't know. This is only hearsay because I never watched Voyager, obviously. But
now that I finished DS9, I'm like dangerously close to watching an episode of Voyager, and that
you're gonna have to.
Has me on edge at all times,
dude. And then you're gonna be watching Enterprise.
Good lord. At least that has Scott Bakula.
And then you're going to be watching Count Dracula?
What is the show with Scott Bakula in it? Is Far Leap?
Yeah, Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap. Hoping the next leap will be the leap home. Science fiction in it?
You can watch Enterprise and then just watch the episode where he inhabits the body of a Down syndrome child.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah. Subtle.
Oh boy. So, Picard goes to Risa.
And this is possibly the stupidest scene I've ever seen in Star Trek.
Yeah, it's just missing Picard making a stupid face once he gets kissed. Like his eyes pop out and go wide. He like
steam shoots out of his ear.
Yeah, like straightens his fucking spine, pulls back, does full T poses,
starts spinning around, and flies up in the air and like clips through the ceiling.
When she pulls away, he stammers even more like
Yeah. What the hell was that? That was so stupid.
Right, and
who kisses someone by, like, you kiss them and then you stare at someone else?
Now, here's the thing: what did that even accomplish in terms of the story? Like, she's trying to avoid that Ferengi, right?
Yeah.
What is the Ferengi's like? Oh, she's kissing somebody. I can't interrupt her.
Right. Yeah, all it does is inconvenience Picard, but it's also like, yeah, why wouldn't the Ferengi just be like, okay, I'm still gonna walk up to you.
I have a fucking gun.
Right. And he's not scared of Picard in any other scene. Right. So,
it's dumb, but it is just
it's really dumb.
It's the reason is that it introduces Vash as being somebody who's up to something. Well, that too, but. That does harken back to the original name of the character, Gash, but we felt that was a little too on the nose for a love interest. Right.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, but I don't think that would have gotten past the censors anyway.
That's true. But we did have to cut a wonderful line from the episode where she introduced herself. She says, I'm Gash, and Picard says, I know, which was a pretty humorous moment. So they get acquainted, and then just as quickly as she came, she leaves, and Picard is set on...
That's how it always happens.
Yep. Set on enjoying his vacation by reading and being an incel.
And this is we see the set of Risa.
Yeah, which is
and
fine.
It's populated by mostly sexy women, but some sexy men
wearing trash bags.
Right. And so Ira had actually come up with this idea, which, you know, personally I think is an extremely original idea. It's never been done before. The idea of a pleasure planet. Gene was so delirious by this point that he had completely forgotten that he had actually come up with this idea first. So I remember it heaped, you know, ton of praise on Ira for this. He was really into it, and he spent weeks, you know, in pre-production petitioning to, and it's so bizarre, petitioning to have as the backdrop for like every scene on this planet just explicit gay sex scenes.
Pleasure Planet.
You know, Picard would be sitting in his chair reading his book. A man would be getting fucked in the ass right behind him, right? You know, Picard and Vash would lay out their little blanket in the desert, and all around them would just be
homoerotic encounters.
Pairs of men going at it, very loudly. But we did end up having to remind Gene that, you know, very gently, that he hates gay people.
I remember his reaction. Just oh yeah. Can't stand those. Well, I'm not going to repeat his words exactly, but can't stand
those. Yeah. You know,
yeah.
Which is, you know, again, how we ended up with mostly women in these scenes.
We did need some men to, you know, massage Vash.
Right. Because, we couldn't have any, and that's the thing, we couldn't have any homosexual encounters.
Right. Not until Gene died, and that's how we got lesbian Dax on Deep Space Nine.
Right. Which I'm well acquainted with.
Of course. As the Alpha Trek series.
Mm-hmm. So Picard's reading his book in his little chair,
Right. And women keep throwing themselves at him.
Yeah, he's I mean, we have to note that he's now wearing his little Speedo thing.
Yeah, he's wearing a Speedo, he's got an open shirt. We see the full brawn of
he's got a lot going on.
Got a lot. Yeah, I remember he had to grow out his chest hair just for this episode. What you see in the final episode is 3 months of growth. A little bit of it was donated by Frakes just to really sell the masculine image that we wanted.
Yep.
But what Patrick doesn't have going on, you know, on his head, he's got elsewhere.
I'm surprised Frakes would donate to make another man look good in you know, anything from his body.
Right. Well, Frakes always had a bit of a Samson situation going on with his chest hair, and it took some K-holing to get him to agree. But he did. Yeah.
You know, he certainly thought. Well, you know what it is. In season 1, I remember he was always having problems growing it out.
I wonder what changed. Perhaps it was the onion bagels.
It must have been the onion bagels, but yeah, you know, after that point, he was adamant that it was giving him his strength.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know how did they get that off of him?
Tweezers, I imagine, but Patrick also took the opportunity to grow out his bush, which didn't end up figuring into the episode, but it certainly figured into production.
So they didn't transplant the hairs from there onto Frakes' chest.
No, it was less of a transplant and more of just gluing.
Hey, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's movie magic, TV magic.
Mm-hmm.
Movie and or TV magic.
Even if you don't see it, it's magic.
Yeah. Well, you never see, you know, the tiger vanish from the cage, but that's still magic.
Sure. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I mean, how can you argue with that?
I have several continuity issues with the Ferengi in this episode. Okay, first of all, the Ferengi always pronounce the word human as human, except for this guy.
Yep.
Second, he offers to pay Vash, quote, her weight in gold, even though gold is worthless in the galaxy. In fact, in Deep Space Nine, Quark, thinking that he has just uncovered a score of gold-pressed latinum, is dismayed to find out that the latinum has been taken out of the gold. And he says, and I quote, "Now I just have worthless gold," because it's funny, you see, because gold's worth a lot in our world.
Right. It's ironic almost.
Yes. So gold is not worth anything, despite what this Ferengi will tell you.
Wait, so what about that episode where they're trying to buy the portal? Doesn't a Ferengi come on board and offer gold?
That might also be what.
That's probably just a continuity error, right?
Yeah.
Or not even, because that was just so early in the Ferengi timeline.
It became a continuity error. It got retconned, you might say.
Right. Yeah. Retro continuity errored.
Right.
What does retcon stand for?
Retroactively
Conned?
I gotta look this up. What is retcon short for?
Retroactive continuity. Got it.
Okay. This
win.
The word retcon itself sounds like a TV trope, right?
Yeah, it does.
like just two complete losers speaking their made-up language together. It's like, oh yeah, I got totally retconned. What is the opposite of useful? I guess useless. That's what TV tropes is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely yeah, I think, we were discussing this off mic at some point, but it's pretty much just a database for autists to teach each other how human interaction works.
I putting aside websites that are, just outright intentionally disgusting or made to be nonsensical, I think TV Tropes is a bottom 5 website on the internet. At least
it's really bad
relative to the traffic it receives.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's I mean, the user base is like 13-year-olds, so
right. But just think about the conceit of the website. It's to catalog concepts and ideas that don't actually exist and are only spoken of among its own user base.
Well, not only that, but it's like you're really just dealing with like basic storytelling concepts, and you're kind of mysticizing them.
All right, hold on. We're gonna play a fun game live on the podcast. I'm gonna go to the Star Trek TV tropes page and name some of the tropes that are there,
and we'll try to apply them.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. You have to tell me what this trope is talking about. Here's one. All genes are codominant.
All genes are codominant. So, what, a child of two races has a phenotype that reflects both equally?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
That's good. Smart guy. Let's scroll down.
I don't know if that's true, though.
In Trek? All right.
Yeah, you remember Worf's Klingon chick that he bangs, half Klingon chick? She doesn't look necessarily that human.
No, that's true. What about Alexander?
Alexander.
All right. Magic by any other name.
Magic by any other name. Okay, wait. It's the Magic by any other name. The unexplained technology used as a plot device.
No, that's a good guess, but this is when a work has, I'm reading the page here, has an intangible element that is obviously supposed to be magic, but is not explicitly called that.
Oh, fuck off.
All right, how about...
No kidding, a sci-fi show?
All right, Minovsky physics.
Who is Minovsky?
I have no fucking idea.
All right, well, I guess I'll give this my best guess. Minovsky physics. It's going to be unrealistic physics in space, like space travel physics.
I'm going to read the first sentence here, and I'm not even sure I get what they're going for. Any instance of a fictional subatomic particle, molecule, element, or form of energy which has rigidly adhered to but useful physical properties. Like, what? So,
I suppose it's talking about... It says subatomic, right?
Wait, hold on. This might make it easier for you to understand. The next sentence. It is essentially a justified, necessary weasel aiding willing suspension of disbelief by back engineering in explanations for the weird bits.
Oh, okay. How did we not get that?
That cleared up for you?
Yeah, thank you. That helps.
All right, this will be our last one. Multi-directional barrage.
Multi-directional barrage. Well, all I can think of is a starship getting attacked, a multi-directional barrage. It being attacked from a nondescript angle because it's convenient.
I believe
I don't know.
It's supposed to be just shooting like everything at the same time.
Oh, okay.
You know, for a website that is ostensibly supposed to define its own terms, it does a really bad job of it.
You don't want to read about choking the weasel, explaining the nasty bits or whatever.
It suggests contrasting the multi-directional barrage with an alpha strike and comparing it to spin attack. And then I can click on all of the examples of this happening in media. So I click on the anime and manga section. It says, oh, there's a multi-directional barrage in Black Clover. There's a multi-directional barrage in The Last Starfighter, if I go to the live action film section.
Is there a multi-directional barrage in Nadesco?
There does not appear to be. But I can go to Nadesco and look at all the tropes that are...
We should find the tropes that connect Trek and Nadesco.
Oh, that's a lot. All right, just really quick, some tropes that Nadeshko has are action girl, allegiance affirmation, anachronic order, beam spam, calling your attacks, cloud cucko lander, and colon cancer.
What?
Oh, I see.
What is colon cancer?
Colon cancer is many works of fiction are named using a title:*subtitle template. However, sometimes the subtitle becomes an important part of the identity, and when a sequel is made from that, a second subtitle is tacked onto it. So it's presumably using a bunch of colons in the title.
That never happens.
No, but there's a TV tropes page on
it. All right. Well, that was a fun diversion. I enjoyed that. That's a good idea.
That's yeah. You can always be reminded of how autistic you could have been if things played out differently.
Could have.
So,
well, we need to talk about Picard's little dick statue.
Yeah, the thing that invites the Jamaharon Jamaharan. Jamaharan.
I am not seeking Jamaharan.
Why did you make him sound like Wilford Brimley? Jamaharan was a word that I regretted spawning. I mean, I didn't write it, but it's the fact that this episode created it.
We were involved.
Yeah.
In any case.
Gene used that as his secret code. I remember he ran an ad in the newspaper recruiting girls for Jamaharan. And
oh my god.
Because nobody knew what it was. They didn't take it down. And he just paid to have that up in every issue. And, girls would be looking for a job. Like, all right, I'll do this Jamaharan thing. And
yeah. Oh, yeah, because, you read it and you think it's like a silly fantasy thing, and then...
And it becomes
a
very real experience. Now, it's very similar, the word and the act in concept are very similar to Umox. Do you know what Umox is?
Is this a Deep Space Nine thing?
It might have came from Deep Space Nine, but it
might have come.
It might have come. But it's the might of come. But it's it's ostensibly a Trek lore thing.
Okay.
So Umox is the name of the Ferengi sexual act where one sensually rubs the ears of another.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah.
And it appears as self Umox. Auto Umox is also a thing.
Auto Umox. That's amazing. Auto Umox.
That sounds like a I don't know, like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy character. Auto Umox.
Now there's a TV tropes page worth investigating.
Yeah, that's just a loaded.
Can you imagine?
Loaded can of autism.
I bet there's a significant number of tropes that were spawned from that, like trope names on that page that were spawned from that. We're gonna do that off mic.
Can't wait.
That's gonna be a trip. I enjoyed the line where this woman that you hate asks Picard if he's saving his Jamaharan for someone he loves.
Yeah.
Which is obviously in reference to Riker.
Right.
And he goes, "Oh, I wouldn't go that far."
It was pretty funny.
I thought it was cute.
Now, there is that moment where she is playing with a hoverball, and her hoverball drifts too close to Picard, and she retrieves it saying, "I'm sorry, I've yet to master the art of the hoverball." And I'm not a good enough actor to read that line as terribly as she did. But it was bad.
We also have to note that the effect is god-awful.
Oh yeah, it's like on a string.
It's hanging precariously from a string to such a degree that it's flying everywhere.
You can see why Picard was annoyed.
This ball has autism.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, yeah. No. By all means, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, why does everyone keep asking me about Jamaharan?
Yeah. Okay. So that happens. I need to note this line where he says, "You're blocking the suns." Just so we know that we're on an alien planet.
Yeah.
Right. No. It's clumsy.
It's very clumsy. I love the idea that the suns are just right next to each other, such that it's easy to block them both at once.
Right.
It's like there's two suns, but they still function exactly the same as one sun. Don't worry.
Right, like even colloquially, you would just be like, "You're blocking the sun."
Right.
Like if there were 3 fucking suns in the sky and someone was like standing in front of me, casting a shadow on my face, I'd say, "You're blocking the sun."
You wouldn't say you're blocking all 3 of our distant suns.
You're blocking Sol, Solaris, and Selenium, all at the same time.
Now, it would be cool if, like, the entire set was extremely well lit to account for all the suns. And everybody's just got, like, the... And, you know,
it's just blown out.
For a planet with two suns, the Rysians, sure
They're
are
very
pale.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does melanin work on this distant planet?
The whole episode should have just been barely visible until they got to the cave.
Everyone's got, like, a visor on.
It's completely blown out until Picard puts his sunglasses on.
Someone arrives, like, oh, here's your complimentary sunglasses. And those first few seconds are just intolerably bright.
See, that would have been artistic.
Yeah, that would have been inspired.
Maybe Chip Chalmers would have won something for that. So our Ferengi, Sovak.
Yeah.
Now, you know who he is, right? In the grand scheme of Trek.
Is he the guy that plays Rom?
Yeah, he is.
Nailed it. And he's a very distinct-looking guy.
He has this Woody Allen affect, but also, like, this really scrunched-up looking face.
Yeah. What's funny is, in one episode of DS9, he appears in a dream sequence, and he's playing a different character. Still a Ferengi, but a different guy. And even the way he plays Rom, his voice, he can do a lot with it, and that sounds very, very distinct.
Really?
Yeah, from other iterations of his voice. You haven't watched it, so you don't know, but the way that Rom talks is cartoonish. Very deep, very sputtery, but it's very distinct to the point where you would expect that to just be some guy's unique voice, and that's just what he sounds like. But no, it's something he turns on and off very, very well. And, like, for here, he doesn't sound anything like Rom in this episode. He's playing a different character, of course, but he's got a range. He's got a vocal range. Impresses me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, good. That's. I guess he earned his keep as the Ferengi guy.
He did.
But yeah, he comes over and accosts Picard.
He does.
And his new girlfriend.
Well, just Picard at first, and then both of them, and he's like, "Oh, I knew you knew each other."
He does that little squinty face.
Yeah, he looks like the Trade Federation guy.
The Trade Federation guy?
You know, they both are, like, I don't know, Asian stereotypes.
I did write this in my notes. He does look like someone, and I can't place it.
Rom?
Yeah, sure.
No, I mean, he looks like Rom.
No, not Rom. But whatever.
Quick aside, Rom ends up becoming the leader of the entire Ferengi race. Somehow. And
oh, shit.
If you ever watch DS9, you'll appreciate how stupid that is.
No, I mean, the problem is I've been spoiled, and I do know that Rom does eventually become a vacuous spider.
Well, it's the journey that is worth it, you know. These things don't mean anything in and of themselves.
It's a great way to describe Star Trek.
These are the adventures that don't matter at all.
But you'll spend your life going to conventions devoted to them.
I got my Season 1 uniform, the second generation uniforms.
You know, speaking of which, PAX East is going on right now.
Yeah. I know you're local. You gonna go and play some tabletop?
I'm traveling for business, and yes, I stood outside for about 2 hours watching the PAX clientele walk by.
A real rogues gallery, that clientele.
Yeah, so what's her name? Vash puts the little thing, the chip that
The disc.
that Sovak, the disc, yeah, that Sovak is looking for. She slides it into Picard's pocket, unbeknownst to him.
Oh, hold on. I have to talk about this. Picard's robe, the shawl that he's wearing, with its uneven sides, like one pocket is a good 6 inches up from the other one.
Yeah, because you can tell when he puts his hands in his pockets.
Yeah, like what? Just because it's an alien world doesn't mean everything has to be fucking nonsense.
Look, Picard's very fashion forward, okay?
Oh my god. I think Trek usually does a good job of having different futuristic / alien wardrobes.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a step too far. And I won't abide by it.
Nah, it's pretty bad.
I was beside myself while watching. This really stuck out to me. How fucking terrible.
Would you clone yourself?
Yeah. You know how it is. It was actually my mirror universe double who came to visit. the much.
No, that's the one without a mustache.
Right. But he's still the much more successful of the two.
He's an upstanding individual. He contributes to his community.
Instead of starting a podcast, he learned a skill.
So Picard puts his hands in his pockets when he gets back to his hotel, his uneven pockets, and he finds the disc.
Right.
And he immediately is able to locate this woman's room somehow, which I found that odd, but...
I think that all these people are, whether Vash is getting her room broken into, Picard being surprised that there are visitors in his room, everybody has such a... Again, they're surprised by these happenings, but none of these rooms have doors or locks.
Yeah. I always assumed that, like, what we see is the end of a hallway.
Uh-huh.
That the door precedes. You know what I mean?
I suppose, but I mean that's some pretty high fantasy stuff.
No. You're not seeing the vestibule, the Genkan, if you will.
Oh God. I will not.
If I was typing that, I would have typed it in kanji, just so you know that I know the word.
Right. It's great, especially if it's a word that the other person doesn't know, so then they have to bear the indignity of asking.
Right, and then it proves I'm more Japanese than they are.
Exactly.
I did notice that, but I also kind of, like, I literally did just explain it away to myself like that. Whatever.
I need a shot of them opening the door, or my suspension of disbelief is crushed.
Look for the cut content on the Blu-ray, which I now own.
We know, honey. We know.
I'm very excited about it.
Are the discs still blue?
Yeah, they're blue.
Okay.
Yeah, they blue.
Is that pertinent to the amount of data that they store? Like the blue, kind of how red cars go faster. Do blue discs store more data?
Because the helpful thing is that some episodes have more data and some have less.
I see. This was a less data episode.
Right. So this wouldn't take up as much space on the disc.
I see. Oh Lord. Now data lore. That one took like 2 discs for one episode.
Yeah, no, you have to switch halfway through. At least on the DVD you did.
Very evocative of Metal Gear Solid.
Right.
I remember owning the Titanic on VHS.
And
it was like a couple cassettes.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever owned a movie on any media format that required me to switch, cassettes or discs or whatever before that.
Right. It's like turning over a record. You could kill somebody with the physical media version of Titanic.
You could, yeah.
It's so big.
Yeah.
Came in that.
I don't think I don't know if VHS tapes are that sturdy. You're slamming them into someone's head and they don't break.
You think they would break before the skull?
Yeah, I think so.
There's only one way to find out. next time I get angry, I'll find a VHS and go to town on myself.
What? To be fair, you need 2 VHS tapes inside a box.
Simulate the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Now, where am I?
Because they had their slip covers and then they were both inside a bigger box, and that cushions them.
Where am I gonna find 2 VHS tapes and a cardboard box? That's a tall order.
I guess you're just gonna have to buy the Titanic on VHS again.
The animated one?
Is there an animated Titanic?
Yeah. Yeah, there was.
There's Titanic 2.
It starred all animals, I think.
You know what? The fucked up thing is I don't even know if you're lying to me right now.
I don't think I am. I mean, lying requires intent, and I do not have the intent to lie.
How convenient.
I can't wait until my mind is gone, riddled with Alzheimer's, and all of my, stupid bullshit, it wraps back around to sincere, because that's just the reality, I believe.
all the stuff you've made up in your head, it's just completely real now.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Star Trek. He confronts Vash, says, "Hey, I have the disc," and she tells him that it leads to the location of a what?
In a thing.
A thing, yeah, a thing.
No,
which the aliens were looking for.
Before this, Picard has a conversation with the aliens, right? They tell him that they're looking for this thing.
Oh yeah, sure. Right, that was in his room before he goes to her room.
Right, a lot of rooms, which you might not notice this, but it's actually the same room. We didn't really build the same set twice.
Yeah.
Now, Picard is aware of this artifact thing because he's a smart archaeology guy. Something Patrick Stewart could never be, and it's kind of a MacGuffin, right? It doesn't really figure into the plot, other than that people are looking for it.
It's a MacGuffin until you get to the Apocrypha.
Oh no! Now, it's jumping ahead a little bit. Transporter code 14. 13?
Huh?
Later on in the episode, Picard says, "Execute teleporter code 14 on my mark."
Where he blows the thing up?
Yeah.
I was like jumping ahead a little bit. That's the end of the episode.
Well, all I'm saying is, I was expecting transporter code 14 would be them transporting it away and making it look like an explosion.
You would think so. That's what I thought too.
But the implication is that he did just blow it the fuck up.
And it's funny, despite having watched this episode before, I still thought that. And then no, it just blew up.
Picard, who agrees that it's a priceless artifact,
right? That
he speaks of reverently, with reverence. Just
so he speaks of with Reverend Al Jackson,
right? Right. He speaks of with the DiCaprio joint, The Reverend.
Lots of you got DiCaprio on the mind today.
Oh, Titanic, yeah. I guess I do. Leo, as I like to call him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
now,
know,
ironically, he's a Sagittarius.
They should have called him Sagittarius DiCaprio.
Oh boy.
Paint me like one of your Risa girls.
The Titanic was a form of pleasure planet, a primitive form of pleasure planet.
Except the pleasure planet doesn't crash into A giant ice planet.
Yeah, well, they didn't plan on that. That was an accident. You know.
Yeah, okay.
They intended.
Yeah. An accident. Right.
Oh, God. James...
Have you delved into the Titanic Conspiracy?
No.
It's worth it.
Yeah, they intended on hitting the iceberg, or was it they never hit an iceberg? And
no. They intended on hitting the iceberg, and also the ship, the Titanic, was actually its sister ship, just disguised, and it was to kill off like some bankers or something.
Ah, what was the name of the sister ship? Titanic?
The Olympia, I think.
I see. A real eat the rich moment.
Like they both swapped names like twins in a horror series.
Right. Or the Parent Trap.
Or the Parent Trap.
Is that what happens in the Parent Trap?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, I only watched the Lindsay Lohan version because I had a... Well, I'm not going to go there, but...
Because you had a free night?
I only watched the Lindsay Lohan version a year ago, just because no, they meet and they're like, oh, we're twins. We look exactly the same. We must be twins.
Right. No, but then they go off with the other's parent.
Do they?
I think they do, and the idea is that they're trying to get their parents together.
Oh, I thought the entire plot of the Parent Trap was that they found out they were twins, and then they subject their parents to wacky, like, pies in the face type stunts.
as they try to force them together.
Oh.
I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're trying to force them together. I don't know if they replace each other, though.
Now, I always thought the Parent Trap was when you poked a hole in a condom.
That's a Parent Trap.
No, and a Parent Trap is one that's obvious, just that you see coming.
Wow, you were so excited about that. I mean, that was good, but you were so excited about it, you couldn't even get it out.
Can you blame me?
No, not really. But yeah, so anyway, it turns out Vash is, well, okay, as she describes herself, as she was an assistant to a professor who discovered this artifact, Professor Samuel Estragon, which we must note, of course, just to pay our respects, do our duty to the dead. Samuel Estragon was a subtle reference to our second AC's daughter, who had finally started transitioning during production.
Late congratulations. Belated congratulations.
Late congratulations, and rest in peace.
Yes.
But
who knew the events that would be set in motion by that?
Right.
Who could have
right.
known?
Anyway, she wants to find the artifact and, in her words, donate it to a museum.
Right. I trust her.
Well, she's sexy, so I like her, and I'll do anything for her. Which is I found an odd characterization of Picard in this episode, is that he trusts her a little too quick.
His primary motivation of getting it in?
Yeah, right? Because usually Picard would be extremely untrusting, even up to this point. Right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much development that goes on in endearing her to him.
If anything, all she does is annoy him.
You're right.
So all she has is a carrot on a stick that is, come on a little adventure with me.
Right, and I buy Picard's motivation for finding this artifact, doing this archaeology thing. But right. I don't really get their shared affection.
No.
And it's also presented as Vash having a sincere affection for Picard as well, where you would think it would have been more of a front. Right, yeah, like she's trying to use him. I mean, look at the guy. Well, he's like 3 times as old as she is. He's an attractive man. You think Patrick Stewart wasn't attractive back then? I saw him letting it all lay out on Risa.
then you know how big it is.
I just don't buy him being a sex symbol. Like, Patrick Stewart, again, is more attractive when there's this cultivated image of him being a cultured, refined guy.
Yeah, sure. You kind of need some time for him to present his personality to a woman.
Right. Whereas with this, it's more of they both find each other immediately physically attractive. And
Well. Okay, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. She sat there and watched him kind of confront the Ferengi guy, which is kind of indicative of what his personality is.
I suppose.
And he was very standoffish with her, which women love.
Yeah, gotta play hard to get.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I
can
guess
see it.
I can buy that. Picard.
I can buy her, but not him.
Agreed.
But Patrick wanted to get it in, so
right. And get it in, he does. Now
they go on a little adventure.
There's a very stupid confrontation before that.
Yeah.
The Ferengi, what is his name? Saruman?
Sovak,
I see. He, as they're setting off, he holds them at gunpoint, and Picard says, "I thought weapons weren't allowed on Risa."
Oh my god!
And he says, "I'm literally a criminal." And they just end up punching him out, and then Picard takes the gun and just tosses it into a hedge.
Yeah,
like, won't be needing this.
That was literally my note for that scene.
Later, they get held at gunpoint. Weapon would have been useful, but the Ferengi returns with an even larger gun. And
yeah, he's got like an assault rifle now.
Is there no security on Risa? It's good. It's the honor system. You don't bring in a gun.
Well, what are they gonna do? It's just a bunch of naked women.
Don't make me. I don't distract me with imagining the answer to that question.
Yeah. They throw the gun into the bush, and then it's funny because not like the episode's almost over by this point, really.
Right.
Which is bizarre because the little journey hasn't started yet. But they walk for a little while and they end up in like a cave or something, or is it just supposed to be the desert at night? I'm not really sure. There's a question.
I'm thinking. I believe it's a cave. I believe they're in a cave system.
Okay. So they're in a cave.
Right.
And what is this like little bedspread? What is this?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just so they can have a quote fighting over the blanket moment. Is that a trope? Is that a TV trope? Oh, this show has big fighting over the blanket vibes.
It probably is.
But yeah, there's what's an example of this trope? Oh, Star Trek: The Next Generation. In the episode Captain's Holiday, Vash and Captain Jean-Luc Picard fight over the blanket inside of the caves of Risa. And then that's it. Someone took the time to write that out.
They have a real hiding the wombat moment.
A real big-lipped alligator moment. But it is stupid. I think the tone of this episode at this point and several other points is very sitcom-y. With it's too cute.
Well, and that's the thing. And I said this earlier, but Jennifer as Vash is she overacts to such a. She doesn't come off as a bad actress, but it feels like she was directed almost to overact. She does that's such a good description. She comes off as a sitcom character, like Jerry Seinfeld's girlfriend for the episode.
She reminds me of Aunt Becky from Full House. You ever watch Full House?
Yes, actually, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I was about to chastise you for such a ridiculous reference, but yes, I agree. She does come off like that.
Very Becky-ish. Getting guy who's only seen Full House, getting big Aunt Becky vibes from TNG.
The only woman you've ever seen. The most disturbing part of this scene is that Patrick doesn't seem to know how to make out.
god. Yes. Yes.
Were you as disturbed as I was?
I wasn't disturbed, but I did get the same feeling.
It was very like he was like chomping on her.
Well, I'm trying to think. There's been another notable example of it's like the 1940s movie kiss. You know what I'm talking about? You ever get this vibe? You watch like a noir film from, very long time ago. Like what was the name of that guy? He was in all the noir movies. Actor. It was Hugh Henry something. Whatever. Maltese Falcon guy. Whenever there's a kiss in a noir film, it's always like very unnatural. They like pull each other together very quickly. Their mouths just like suction cup onto each other, and there's no movement or anything. Just very flat, bam. And they hold that position without moving for a good 30 seconds, and then they thrust each other away.
Yeah. Well, that's better than what happened here.
Yeah, but
I mean, you know, when you're going in for a real kiss,
mm-hmm.
there is a lack of movement for like a good few seconds.
Yes, but it evolves, there's a progression to a kiss. There's like waves, like it goes up and down, and you pull away.
Yeah, no, but okay. When you're really going in, you go in. There's movement. You stop for a few seconds. You move again. Then you stop for a few seconds, right?
When I say movement, I don't just mean the bodies, but like the mouths,
That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's not external movement all the time. You're not like chomping on her.
Not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it shouldn't be a consistent, like you're eating, right? But it also isn't stagnant nothing.
I guess it's not like static, but
right. There's a middle ground that a real kiss has that is not present here. And it's not present in the other example I cited.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
see, like, here, this is like an eating ass technique.
How about after the show we can?
Is that a TV trope?
Yeah, the eating ass technique. After the show, we can show each other what we mean with demonstrations.
Yeah, sure, of course. Especially the eating ass part.
Yeah. Now, you know me. I've never been involved in ass eating one way or another. It's more of your ball game. But
yeah. Every now and then, so you make mistakes.
The pudding zone. Big old mud pie.
It's always the hot ones that don't know how to wipe.
Why'd you say that?
just so you can imagine what Freak's asshole was like.
I like the idea of somebody who's never eaten ass before, like being enthusiastic about it, and they're like, "This tastes like shit." And it's like, yeah, you signed up to eat ass.
Just incredulous,
right? Like the audacity that their ass tastes like shit.
He turns her over. This tastes like shit.
Oh my
Which
God.
I guarantee has happened actually in real life.
Oh,
that is an interaction that's actually happened.
A tale as old as time. How many times does that must have played out? The same drama. The players are different, but the drama is the same.
So they make their way to the site of the artifact. They start digging, and there's no room on this set to dig,
right?
Which is amazing.
And
they're kind of faking digging, and the shot is positioned in such a way that you can't tell where their shovel is meeting the ground.
Pay dirt. The aliens beam in and stand there like Molly Shannon in that one episode of Seinfeld. The woman who didn't move her arms when she walked.
Yeah.
And then when the Ferengi comes in, they, ostensibly being security officers, do nothing to interrupt the scene, right? They just let everyone be held at gunpoint.
Right.
Presumably, if this plays out the way it's looking to, the Ferengi, they dig it up, Ferengi steals the artifact, and what are they going to do about it? I think they show a gun later in the episode, but they might just get shot. It's just very strange. And you have this three-pronged scene of them watching on one side, kind of, being how do I put this? Being cuckolded by the Ferengi for having to watch him hold up these two as they dig. And eventually Patrick just says, "You know what? I'm done digging." And Vash says, "I'm also done." And the Ferengi says, "Well, all right, you're free to go. I'm going to dig." Just very bizarre.
He says it a lot more flustered.
Right. But you would think that he would use his weapon to coerce them into doing the digging for him, as he had been doing up till that point. I guess once they stopped consenting, it went against his moral code.
Right, yeah. Yeah, he didn't want to get rapey.
Right. And, yeah. That bizarre line of events all plays out, and they're just free to go. The next scene is they just arrive back at the resort.
Yep. Very flaccid. I liked the cave set,
flaccid of a scene as it led to.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. You just like it?
Oh. I'm never really a big fan of caves.
I'm just a big fan of cutting rocks out of styrofoam.
There's an art to it for sure.
Yeah, spray paint.
Just visually, I'm never really into it.
You're gonna hate the episode of Wesley Crusher's last mission with the Enterprise.
I'm well aware.
Then
what happens after this?
Picard shows that he had outfoxed Vash all along. Yeah, he outfoxed the fox and says, What did you really do with the artifact? It was never in that cave. I just agreed to go along anyway." And, whatever. And she just gives it to him. It's like, "Oh, I hid it in this sex totem." And
she hid it in a horgon.
Right. In plain sight. Hiding in plain sight. And Picard says, "I'm gonna blow this thing the fuck up." Transporter code 14.
Yeah. He's faced with an actually interesting moral dilemma. Is he to trust the aliens or not?
Now, I thought Picard came across as a little dumb here, where the idea that they were deceiving him had never crossed his mind.
100%.
And
I
says,
totally agree with that.
I guess you should show me proof. That sounds right.
Well, he had to have the woman tell him what to do.
Right. And it's not even presented as him being outsmarted. It's more of like, this is the obvious thing and you didn't think about it. Vash is just, "Hey, wait, what makes you think they're telling the truth?" And Picard says, "Oh my god."
He's like, oh
shit. They could be lying to me.
Well, how do I know you're not lying? And then he just blows it up anyway. And then they say, all according to Keikaku.
Right. And was that what they were trying to do? To make Picard fulfill his role of destroying it?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Which now that we've come to this point, sheds a different light on the line where he says that they'll be repeating this again.
Right. Just, is that what it is? A time loop? Is it not linear? Like, it's so weird.
It's stupid because they've achieved their goal,
right?
And they say it in such a sinister way too.
Right, you've achieved your role in the prophecy. No.
It almost makes them seem evil.
I don't get it. I don't get them. I don't get this. I don't get anything.
They should have, when they first appeared, they should have looked at the screen and announced, "We are the good guys,"
or conversely, "We are the bad guys." But
right.
Just plant your flag,
Yeah.
And then Picard goes back to the Enterprise, and Riker, I think Riker's there, and he grins at him.
He does his little eye thing.
All right. I fucking hate Jonathan Frakes.
Well, Vash is going to be back, which is great.
Alongside Q.
Yeah, that's right.
She appears in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I think personally, I think she's very attractive.
Well, I mean, that's her primary role.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want Picard getting it in with someone ugly. We can't self-insert as that.
Yeah, I don't. There's something about her though that annoys. It annoys me that I can't travel back in time and.
And what? And assume the role of Picard? Let me tell you.
No, assume the role of her.
Let me tell you something. What really annoys me is that when she puts her hair back in a ponytail, it looks awful. Like, I've never seen a ponytail look that bad.
Really? I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Her hair's got, like, too much volume. It kind of actually looks like Dax's on Deep Space. I have Deep Space Nine brain rot.
You really do.
I can't get over this. And her hair and Dax's hair also look fucking awful. And it's something like the amount of volume in the hair that when you tie it back, it, like, compounds on itself and sticks up a lot. It's really floofy. And it just looks like shit.
A floofer dooper doo.
Yeah.
A little floofer boofer.
Yeah. So what did you think overall?
Yeah, no, I really think that Jennifer is really attractive.
How many saucer steps would you give her?
3.5.
Out of 4? Out of 5?
She looks like the kind of girl that I would have inappropriate relations with at work.
Oh, that's very evocative.
But she does, though. Doesn't she? She looks like
being attractive?
Well, yeah, but like she's like just attractive enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see. I'm there with you, 3.5.
Anyway, where are we? What? Okay, sorry. What?
I think we're at the end of the episode, right? We're done.
Are we?
I mean, to go back, Picard says, "I knew about your plan." The aliens come, they blow up the thing, they go back. Riker's grinning. Like,
yeah. Okay. Here's what I was kind of weirded out about. He blows up this thing that she's been searching for 5 years, and she's just okay with it.
He blows up right in front of her, and she's like, "Will I ever see you again?"
Yeah, incredible. So I guess it's time to give a saucer step to the episode, huh?
Yeah.
You go first.
Flat 50%, 2.5.
Yeah. Oh God. 2.5 feels low, but 3 feels high. So
yeah, I'll round down.
Yeah, sure. All right, 2.5 it is.
All right. You got any? It's funny because my feelings did not change at all throughout this entire talk. It's still
not at all. Because I mean, it was a flaccid episode.
All right.
With like
everything except Picard was flaccid throughout this episode.
There were some highs.
And there were lows.
But I mean, like we said, Jennifer was attractive.
Right.
Picard had some funny lines. We had the first appearance of Max as a Ferengi, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and you liked the cave.
I did like the cave.
I like the little hotel sets. I enjoyed those.
Yeah, they were cool. They appear in one episode where Riker. It's the one with the game that like mind controls people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Riker at the beginning of the episode is having sex.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yes, and it's the same set.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't wait for that. I can't wait to... I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's better trivia than I could ever provide.
You got a question, though?
Yeah, that was my question. No, I'm kidding.
Riker having sex. That's my answer.
So, your favorite actress this episode?
The hoverball?
Yeah, hoverball girl. She appears in Deep Space Nine. Did you know that?
Oh shit. No, I didn't.
She appears. Okay, the question is, what episode does she appear in? It's the 30th anniversary episode.
Wait, 30? What?
It's the 30th anniversary of Star Trek. It's the episode marking the 30th anniversary of Star Trek. It's the Deep Space Nine.
Oh,
episode.
I think I saw. Like, I was reading the Wikipedia article on this episode, and I saw that headline. That
it's definitely an episode that's memorable to a degree. Yeah,
it's not. It's not the one where they play baseball, is it? No,
well, it's probably not.
It's something like "Take Me Out to the Hollow Suite." It's dumb. Yeah, God, it's
think anniversaries. What do you do on anniversaries?
Is it the Tribble?
It is.
Trials and Tribulations.
It's Trials and Tribulations. She plays Watley.
I don't know.
Blue.
Just some old. Is that the one that flirts with Bashir?
I don't know. Look, this one.
All right, let me look at this. Yes. So what happens is she's in the elevator, see her using it, and it's somewhat humorous. I believe the setup is O'Brien and Bashir are in the elevator, and they're like, "Take me to deck 3" or whatever, just saying it out loud, and the thing doesn't move, and they don't know how to work the elevator. Right? And they're like, "What? Is the elevator fucking broken?" And then she walks in and grabs the handle, which is what you need to do to get it to listen to you. And they're like, I see. Anyway, her and Bashir make sex eyes at each other. And she says, "Oh, my name's such and such. Come meet me sometime." And he's like, "Wait, that was my grandmother's maiden name or whatever."
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The Back to the Future situation.
Right. And Bashir's like, "Oh, what if I have to have sex with her to spawn my family?" And O'Brien says, "Shut the fuck up. That's not part of the episode." And they just leave it. Which was actually pretty funny.
Dude, what if I have to have sex with my grandmother? Haha. What if I can't help it? What if it was meant to be? Haha.
Fun times. Good episode. Trials and Tribulations.
I'm sure.
People have a lot of affinity for that. I don't have any nostalgia for the original series, so that part of it was lost on me. But even outside of that, the production of it's very cute. How it looks very old timey.
Right. No, I'm excited to get to that.
Yeah.
In 10 years.
In 10 years. Well, I guess that'll be it for this episode of the Readier Room.
Suppose so.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Denny's, home of the Grand Slam, Pep Boys, home of the 5-minute oil change. Also, Gaff Underwear, new sponsor. Appreciate all of them. You can use checkout code Readier at any of these establishments for 15% off. And we will see you again next week with another episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. We're rapidly approaching people's favorite episode, Best of Both Worlds. We'll be there in a couple of weeks. But until then, I bid you all a very pleasant stay readier.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business.
But I stroked the beard thusly. Do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?